Hello friends, welcome back. My name is Boocy, and this is the Cozy Corner, the place where we like to build and tell stories. Today we'll be making a coffee shop, so in case you're interested on making wine yourself, I will be leaving the measurements on screen for you to be able to build one. I'm super excited for today's story because we're gonna talk about how I met my absolute favorite villager on Windway. So make yourself feel comfortable, make yourself feel at home, grab your favorite snacks, your favorite beverage. In my case, I've got my absolutely delightful water bottle. I don't know why, but I just love water. It's just so tasty and it makes me feel fresh. Anyways, so just sit back, relax, and enjoy the story. Everything began when I woke up this one morning. It was, I think, a Sunday morning. The sun was just super bright and the flowers were shining against the sunlight. The trees were big and beautiful and luscious, and the grass was super green and super fresh. Of course, I woke up feeling super exciting. Because it was finally a new day. I got to greet my new villagers that just arrived to my island. I got to do my daily chores, and suddenly when I walked through the plaza, I literally saw God himself. It was Mr. Nook. So of course I was a bit surprised because I was not expecting to see Tom Nook outside. So I told him, "Hey Nook, how is it going?" And he told me, "Oh hey Boocy, I was actually waiting for you. So I've got this per Nook mile ticket and I don't really need it, so I was wondering if you'd like to have it." I told him, "Oh yeah, that's great, that sounds amazing. I've actually been wanting to go to a mystery island." Right? Because mystery islands are amazing. He told me, "Oh, that's great because I actually don't know what to do with this Nook mile ticket, so I just wanted to give it to someone and I thought that you were the best choice." And I, of course, thanked him and received the Nook mile ticket. I literally rushed to the airport. I was feeling super happy, super motivated because that meant that I was finally able to meet a new villager. So I talked to Orville. Orville told me, "Hey Cham, how is it going? How can I help you?" And I, of course, told him the whole story about how I met God on my plaza and how he gave me a Nook mile ticket, how I wanted to go to a deserted island to meet a new villager. He was like, "Oh wow, that sounds absolutely amazing. Let's go." So off we went to this deserted island. When we were at the plane, I saw the ocean and the view was absolutely delightful. We saw dolphins, we saw fish, and we saw lots of cool stuff when we finally arrived at this island. When I first saw everything, it was super overgrown and big. It almost seemed like a maze. It was super tropical and there were lots of a lot of animals like birds, and there were a lot of crabs and beautiful animals. So of course off I went to this deserted island and I started exploring. I saw a lot of exotic fruit. I saw a lot of exotic plants. I actually went to the beach and I found this DIY recipe, which was absolutely amazing because I finally got the DIY recipe that I wanted for a long time. It was a very cool furniture item. I don't remember which one exactly, but I remember getting super excited. And I didn't find the villager. I was actually quite confused because inside my head, I was supposed to find a villager, but I wasn't able to find one, so I was very confused. I started looking around, but nothing appeared until suddenly I looked upon the river and there was this teeny tiny little shadow behind a tree. And I said, "Oh, that must be it. That must be the new villager." So of course I bolted my way through the river and I arrived at the other side of the island. And there it was teeny tiny little Apple. Of course, I got super excited because I had never gotten the chance to have a hamster villager on any of my save files. So of course it was like a new experience, meeting like this whole new person. And the first thing that she told me was a phrase on Mexican slang, which just made me laugh so much because I was totally not expecting it. And from that moment on, Apple and me just started to have this very cool bro, but also very kind, very heartwarming friendship. So we went back to the island and she moved in the next day. We went on walks to the beach, we went climbing the beautiful mountains of Winway. I even made her her own little backyard with lots of flowers and this beautiful, beautiful table, a fountain, a bench. Everything was absolutely delightful. But let's say 3 weeks passed and suddenly, while she was sitting and chilling on her garden, which I may mention because she's so tiny, she was literally hidden in between the flowers. She was like camouflaging within them, and the only thing that you could see was her head, which was absolutely delightful. So I asked her, "Oh, how are you doing, Apple?" And the first thing that she told me was, "Hey Bookie, actually I have something to tell you." Of course I was a bit surprised because I was not expecting to hear something important from Apple. And she told me, so I've been thinking about moving to another island and meeting new horizons and meeting new people, meeting new cultures, meeting new fans, and becoming the world's most famous pop star and eventually dominating the world. I was like, whoa, that plan of world domination sounds great, Apple. But I think that I might be a bit attached to you, so how about you stay a bit longer in one way, and let's say in a month you ask me again and you may proceed with your world domination plans. And she was thinking about it, but eventually she said yes, she agreed. Of course, the days started passing and we became even closer to the point where every single day it was an obligation for me to visit her at her house and basically gift her everything, like everything and anything. By this point, I have given her so much stuff that she could literally be absolutely any single profession. She could be a firefighter, she could be a policeman, she could be a chef, she could be a cleaning lady, she could be the president. At this point she could be the president. Which was the funniest thing ever. I don't know if you guys make the same thing where you when you are super attached to a villager, you just become best friends and you gift them a lot of stuff to kind of spoil them. At least that happened to me. So of course a month passed and I was again walking outside her house. By this point I had already remodeled Winway, so it wasn't the natural island that I used to have. By this point it was already my Mexican island and her house was way smaller. But she still has this tiny bench with 2 chairs outside of her house. And she was just chilling, reading a book on one of the chairs. And of course I was walking by super happy, greeting everyone, when suddenly Apple saw me and she really wanted to tell me something. And she proceeded to say, "Hey Bookie, you know about how beautiful our friendship is, but I kind of want to dominate the world and I want to become super powerful and super famous." Of course, by this point, we were so attached that I could say that we were the same individual. So I denied her offer and told her, "Hey Apple, I know that you really want world domination, but sometimes it's nice to embrace your culture and I would really love you to stay on Winway forever." Which of course it got her thinking for a while, because that meant that she had to rethink her whole life. but eventually she came to the conclusion that, maybe I was right and maybe she could be a famous pop star that came from this beautiful tiny island called Windway. And from that moment on, we became best friends and we have been ever since. And that's my story of how I met Apple. Hello everyone, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you like this new series. I'm totally planning on continuing making them, and I thought that this was a great way for me to improve upon my English and tell cool stories at the same time. Special thanks to Edelmira, Ghostly Oblivion, Thrashadon and Betsy for joining me at the end of this video. In case you're interested in joining me on my next speed build, feel free to join our Discord server, and I'll be choosing random people each week. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Namaste.